All right, we're live. This is fantastic. Welcome. I understand that we might have some new visitors to the channel, which is super awesome. This is Pepakura Tuesday. Every Tuesday, I get on live stream, and we talk shop about using Pepakura for the purposes of foam building and for crafting, and we like to talk about different fun ways that I know about using this program that maybe not everybody does. So this is super exciting, and I'm really glad we could have some folks here to watch this tonight. We are going to jump over to the Pep right now. Awesome. So this is part of a long-term project that we have been working on for the past 3 weeks now. This will be the third week. This is the part, some of you may recognize, this is the part, good evening, Melvin. This is the part that we worked on last week. This is a static version of the Iron Man Mark 7 chest and back piece. And you can see where I've sort of combined some pieces and rearranged everything since the stream last Tuesday. And so I'm very excited about how this turned out. And some of you may have already seen my work in recent builds. This week's large build video is actually going to be a build guide for just doing a repulsor hand, which is actually right over here. And this thing is super comfy to wear and a lot of fun to use, and I really enjoyed making it. And the way we made pattern pieces for this is actually with Pepakura. So I thought we could take a moment out of our night to take a look at that. So this is actually the palm piece right here that we whipped up for this particular build. You can see there are some pieces that we're not using. You know, we're not using these recesses. We're not using any of the circles in here because, frankly, you don't really need them in order to build this out of foam. All you need is the outer layer, which is these pieces right here, which I have grouped together into a single palm piece. So you cut it along that side, you cut it along there. This glues to there, and that glues to there. And that's the whole assembly for this palm piece. It's super easy to use. And frankly, it's a lot of fun to build, so I'm really excited to put out this build guide tomorrow. But more than that, this is how we sort of rig foam Pepakura. It's always going to be a little bit of a stretch from what the program is actually designed to do versus what we're actually going to be using it for. So, to that end, I'd like to show off a little tool that I don't show off a lot on this stream, which is if you have... Here, I'll undo this. If you have multiple pieces that you want to remain static so that you can move them around together, you can either just grab them all every single time and move them around, or you can highlight all the pieces and then do Control-G, groups them all together into one single piece. And now they act and react as though they are just one piece, which is super convenient, especially for builds like this, or even going back to that static chest and back builds like this, because you can see there are pieces here that I have set together that I would make out of a single solid piece of foam that are not themselves actually connected on the 2D face, because we're sneaky like that, which is super exciting. It's super fun to be able to make these pieces where you're seeing lots of large shapes being able to be condensed into one or two pieces, like this piece here. We got 3 pieces for this whole section here. And yeah, that might be a little hinky and it might involve some layering or some additional shaping, but ultimately you're going to wind up with fewer seams and a cleaner, quicker build, which is one of the reasons I love modifying Pepakura for the purposes of making foam builds. Now, the main feature of tonight is actually going to be looking at an abdomen and / cod piece for the Iron Man Mark 7 project, which I'm really excited about. This is my old unfold, and I think we're going to get somewhere pretty similar to this by the time we're done. You know, we're probably going to end up with a spine piece. We're probably going to end up with sort of a side piece and a front piece, but I think that there's a lot of simplification we can do here. I think there's a lot of ways we can do that, and I'd like to go through that now. But before we can do that, I have to sort of undo what I did before. For those of you who don't know, I tend to hide a lot of lines that you don't need to use for foam building. But way back in the day when I didn't know how to use this hide tool, I just painted all of the lines that I wasn't using white. which is a huge waste. So I'm going to just go through and paint all of these lines back to black and make sure that I didn't overly do anything all the way over there. Awesome. So now we're going to undo our unfold. I will apply the open edge info to save some time. You can see what I've done here is save myself some time by leaving the info of how this was actually separated out. You go to 3D menu, edit mode, specify cut line edges, and here, while there's no 2D menu unfold, we can manipulate the 3D model by telling it where we'd like it to actually separate. And I think instead of having an undercut here, I'm actually going to separate that out and see if I can't make the entirety of this ab section right here, 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces, just look like one piece overall. I think that'll be a much more effective way to build this, honestly. I may even just join them along their edges because they're so tiny. Can I? Yeah, because it's just a V groove in there. And I betcha joining that together will not create a fairly significant change in the overall fit. So I think we're going to go along that route. I also think we may end up shaking up the way we put together the cod piece. So let's unfold it. I'm going to keep it at the scale it was before because it was in fact scaled to my body. If you're interested more about scaling Pepakura, that's not going to be our subject tonight. But a couple weeks ago, we did a Shore Trooper build. And when we went through on that, we went through and we talked about scaling and the math of scaling. So please feel free to check that out. We've done quite a few of these Pepakura Tuesdays. So click around. You're going to find something that'll help you out. For now, let's go ahead and unfold this. I'm going to uncheck the box that says place parts avoiding pages because we're definitely going to be making pieces that are larger than a page for the sake of builds. And I'll show you how to print those out by the end of this one. So let's dive right in. Awesome. I'm going to go Control M and move into our Move tool. So what I'm looking at here, for those of you, for the uninitiated, is all of the two-dimensional pieces of this three-dimensional build. And that's pretty easy to understand. You know, you click on one, it highlights over there. I am going to start separating some pieces out for clarity. Let's see. I'm going to look at the... I love getting to type in things like Iron Man cod piece ? Into Google. It's very, very amusing to me personally. Because I am trying to see if there's actually a detail line down the side of it. I think there is. So I might want to leave that line in Iron Man Mark 7 cod piece. LOL. Let's see here. Weirdly, I'm not actually sure I'm seeing one. I think there might be a line near the back, but I think it might be a detail line more than something I want to follow in terms of the actual build. So, to that end, we are actually going to see if we can't join this, and these parts into a more workable piece. Let's see here. I'm going to disjoin them down the center because I do think we will end up with a cleaner build that way. Let's see here. We'll rejoin this along the side edge. Awesome. And now we've got two pieces that are more or less symmetrical, which is great for foam building. Let's see here. Awesome. Okay, so if I take this, because this is the front, this is the leading edge right here. I'm going to make sure I've got all the parts to it right there. And all the parts are right there. So this would join to that on the underside, which is great because from a construction standpoint, I don't know if I would actually join this so much as I would say attach it with like elastic to make sure that I could actually move around in it and that there wouldn't be any issues there. Let's see, I'm going to join this along the center there, and then keep that curve. And the good news about the way this curves is that when you join the other side to it, so the identical piece to it, those opposing curves will force the build to sort of wing together and tuck underneath, which is exactly what we need it to do. Now let's join that here and this there. Awesome. Here we go, and then this is the back. And again, we're going to sort of give the curve almost entirely to the outer edge, because that way we can be sure that when we put the two pieces together, those two curves will force that subtle curve in the butt plate. A Mark I Iron Man? Oh gosh, I thought about doing a Mark I. I think it's really cool. It's just a very different way of building. It would be a lot of manual, like hand templating, which I'm not opposed to. Like, for those of you who don't know, I do a lot of Pepakura building, but I quite recently actually did a boatload of hand drafting there's a build guide for 3 different fun half masks on my channel, and 2 of them, the Ghosts of Tsushima Sakai mask, as well as the Dune 2021 half mask, are hand drafted, which was a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun to do hand drafting, and the Mark I would definitely be that way, because I know there are Pepakura models of it, and I know just from my own personal experience and the way that I build, that it would absolutely suck so hard, truly so hard, for me to try and build them that way, because a lot of those plates are very organic, because of course it's a scrap build, and that's the beauty of a fun scrap build like that, is you get to have at least some artistic license with the way it goes together, and that's fun. There's no denying. Oh wow, those are really wide. Okay, so we might need to go back and readdress how wide these 1, 2, 3 darts are, but the rest of those look really good. Now let's see if we can add in the final rung of this. Now if we succeed in what we're trying to do here, what we will have essentially done is push together these parts so that rather than making them like 2 to 3 separate pieces, there'll be one piece with detail lines, which is one of the things that I really like to be able to do with Pepakura foam building. You take a lot of separate parts, things that maybe if you were making them out of paper would be perhaps more complicated, or just many more pieces, and you can really simplify what you're doing. Now that's an interesting problem I'm experiencing right here. Let's see, can I subtly change that? I think something funky's going on. There's something funky there. All right, we might. What happens when I join those adjacent edges? They do not want to join. They're too wide. So I need to close this gap slightly. If I do that, will that solve the problem? Oh, not 1, 10. That's better. Yeah, that solves the problem. I'm gonna call that problem solved, I think. Let me make sure that's better. That's a better join. It's weird how much finickiness there is in there, and how much we're really allowed to sort of push all the pieces together. Ooh, that is too much. You push those pieces together too much. Too much. Yeah, I think that might be as close as we can get it, but we might be able to get this one a little closer. Oh god, we cannot. Lord, really? I wonder if I push that there and this here, that is actually better. So this looks like an absolute mess of a piece right here, but I assure you that when I push this together, the losses some places versus other places actually sort of even out to the point that we have smooth curves here and smooth curves here, and life is good. Yeah, no, I actually feel pretty darn good about that. So we'll undo that for now. We'll leave this, and we'll call this one piece. So one side of the cod is entirely one piece that we would just address with some shaping in post. And by post, I mean while building it. But that solves a lot of construction problems here where you'd have to do like angles and additional cuts and other things like that. And it's one of the reasons that I really, really love being able to combine parts like this in Pepakura. Now, something weird is happening here that I didn't realize was a part of it before, and unfortunately may mean that I need to start over real quick. One thing that I'm not enjoying is the fact that this doesn't actually end in a point. It ends in a quadrilateral, which means that when I go to sort of press this together, this, whether it's an undercut or just round, has like an open edge that I don't like. So what I'm actually going to do is we're going to do two things, I think, real quick. First, I'm going to undo that so that I can say this. Undo, unfold, apply open edge, and then edit mode, edit model, and I'm going to split this quad. So this quad right here, I'm going to split. So now there's a line that runs there, and I can actually end that in a soft sort of curved edge there, rather than ending that in a harsh line. So we're going to unfold it again, do the same thing we just did, grab all of these parts, all of this, all of that, everything we just had, we're going to have again, but this time, when I go to press everything together, you'll see that I now have, come on. Oh gosh, it does not want it. Oh wait, no. I want it like this. Ba-ba-da, 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 da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. I can get rid of that triangle and that triangle alone so that it ends in a beautiful line, which is such a pain in the butt thing to do for just that one thing. But I do know that will ultimately be better. What the heck? Didn't I just had this a different way? Ah, dang it. Okay, so it's unfolded itself slightly differently now, which is a shame because I'm gonna have to figure out exactly what I just did. I think what I had done is I'd gone like this, pushed that together, pressed that with this, pressed that with this. Yep, there we go. Except now that triangle's gone, which is great. I'm just gonna join this adjacent edges one more time to make sure that that is all good. It's all good. But we were able to get rid of the triangle, which is the real lesson here, is that we got rid of a triangle. Okay, so then I'm going to grab, let's see, is that just a rectangle beneath? It is. Okay, I'm going to grab all of these parts and pull them down, and we're going to kind of make one long spine strip thing, which should be pretty simple ultimately. I'm going to leave this edge there because we're going to essentially leave it as like a flap that we can glue onto. Yep, I'm going to glue it like that. Look at that. And when I do it this way, I'm left with a single piece again because that's perfectly flat and does not need to be attached to anything this way. And yes, it's a little finicky, you know, you got to do a little bit of legwork, you know, you remove this, remove that, and there's sort of like a groove, but you're still winding up with a piece that is so much simpler than what you had before. That doesn't need an extra groove. This doesn't need to be there. And there, that's the spine. That's it. That's all it is. And I love getting to go through and simplifying this way, because right now we're sitting pretty at one, 2, 3 pieces, and I bet you if we do our fun geometry right, we'll end up with 4, 5, 6, 7 pieces. If we can whittle this down to a 7-piece build, this thing becomes this good thing goes from like a monster of detail to just a smooth sailing, easy, quick build. Let's go ahead. We'll save this, and I'm gonna take a bite of chicken because dinner's important. Oh, that's good. Gotta get your dinner, folks. All right, let's see. I'm actually gonna try and do this piece next. So let's see what happens if I turn this way and start adding these pieces onto it. Because what we're gonna try and do now is essentially smooth this curve so that I can re-add it while building. There we go. We're gonna add this because there's a V groove in between there, which means that there's 2 separate pieces that separate each of these large bands. And when I go through, I can sort of stick them all together by just creating little divots, little divots. Not even that much. There we go. Click that there. Now, am I worried about these things coming together slightly? A little, but I think we're actually going to wind up somewhere a lot closer than it looks right now. Because ultimately, the pieces that you're missing here, that little bit there and there, and oh, whoops, there, are ultimately not that long. You can either stretch the foam slightly to get it to fit, or with heat, it should just sort of melt open enough to make that more than manageable. So let's see then how far we can take this. Can I reduce all 4 of these panels to 1 piece? That's the real goal. That's the holy grail. It's one of the reasons I was so excited about the Iron Man repulsor build, is because I've seen a lot of people really go to town on foam Iron Man builds, and I've always really wanted to do one. I set out to try and do one like 8 years ago, and life got in the way because I was still in high school and other stuff. But now that I have more free time, as it were, I find myself in this position where I'm really wanting to not just do the build, but find ways to help others in the community who want to do the build and improve upon the process of doing it out of foam. Because let's be frank, Iron Man's a very complicated build, and I want to be able to help other people who really just want to do it for the love of doing it. And that's one of the things I'll always really love about the prop making community. It's one of the reasons I honestly have so many 3 templates. I could be selling a lot of these, but I think that it's more worth it to try and help the people out. Frankly, I really love it when I get to a place where people are able to use the things and the templates that I provide, and they get to make something that really just warms their heart. I helped a family recently with a build. They were looking to make a T-Rex costume for their little girl for Halloween, and it was a little grueling because you get to this point where you're trying really hard to explain concepts for new builders, and you're trying really hard to make it as easy as possible. and you know, they get there, and it's really pretty, and you can see that, you know, this little kid is just over the moon, and you know, that makes it worth it. It's really fun. I love it. Let's see here. Okay, so now that I'm seeing the overall geometry, I'm seeing that I have a big gap right here, and I have some overlap here and here. So if I can somehow trade wait, where am I joined? There we go. So if I can somehow trade this for a more even resolution, what I'll end up with, oh my gosh, is a slight, oh no, come on, really? God, I'm so close. The answer's like right in front of me. I can feel it. Ah, no, that's not right. Okay, that's actually pretty darn close, because that gap should equal about those gaps, and then we've reduced those gaps on the sides. Perfect. We love it. Truly excellent. Okay, so there's the first 3 parts. This is its own part. It cannot be simplified anymore. If I was really trying to be very, very excessive about it, what I would probably end up doing is when I make the chest, I would just stick that to the chest. But we're not going to worry about that right now. Let's see. This is a part that is useless. We don't need it. We do not need this part. It is just an edge piece that will ultimately not mean anything to our final build. So I can remove it and put it over there. Yeah, when you're working with foam, and one of the reasons I do love using Pepakura with foam is that you actually get to bypass steps that you would otherwise need to spend a lot of time on if you were doing these builds out of paper, because you don't need to add artificial thickness to paper. You can just use foam that already has thickness, which is great. It's great to just have that hashtag thickness. All right, so now what I'm seeing here is I've got 1, 2, 3 sort of levels to the abs here, and I'm going to try and simplify them all into one, like I more or less had before, because the reason we're going to do that is because then we can just leave like these lines between them, and the lines will help us by just being indications, again, for where you can sort of engrave things. Here we go. So there's a slight edge that we are using to help guide where all our pieces parts go. Oh, actually, I think we can make that even simpler on ourselves. So this groove. All right. Let's see. This goes here. This goes there. Oh man, that wants to curve in hard. Oh man, I don't like that. Let's see. If I go like this. Yes, that's way better. There we go. So if I connect those shapes like that, see, it leaves the outline of where this piece goes, which is great because then we don't need to use that piece. There we go. Let's add this in right here. Yep, just stick that along the edge here so that we don't lose that edge. And this, you'll note, is what lines up with the spine over here. And because we've kept those inner lines, you can keep these inner lines. Phenomenal. Am I missing a piece there? No, it's just kind of a funky angle. There we go. Well, that's all right. Because we've got another gap being filled right here. Awesome. And now we've actually got most of this side done. Let's see, because then we've got, next up we've got this part right here, which is the next layer, which will be adjoined like this. See, the funky thing about these abs is that there's a lot of layering that we don't necessarily need to use multiple pieces to do, but we will have to make cuts into the piece to sort of push pieces in or out. go. Awesome. Got that. Then the next one up again. Sweet. And you can already see it's very close. It wants to lay together properly. We're going to need to just give it a little bit of help. Look at that. It's already almost perfect there. There we go. And we might even just go like that. Oops. And push it back to there because that piece wants to line up there now. And this is still lining up with the spine on this outer edge over here. Look at that. Oh, that is just dynamite. There we go. We're going to separate that for a moment because we're about to glue on the next layer. Awesome. Look at that. Here we go. Okay, that's okay. There we go. This is going to glue to this. Just got to figure out exactly where. It's probably going to be right in the middle, yeah. There we go. There we go. Perfect. Well, this is almost done too. Oh my gosh. That went together super easy. Oh no, that is funky. We need to address that. Let's see. So this is actually supposed to sort of line up right there, but that's too deep. And this is actually supposed to line up a little lower. So I wonder if we can't actually just angle it. Oh, that's too much. Now we got to angle it back a little bit. We got to find just the right subtle change to the angle to make. Is it this one? Yeah, I think that might actually be it. Because then if I sort of rock this back ever so slightly, yeah, that's. I think this might be the way. This is the way. Here we go. So let's just sort of ease that together. There we go. That is what we want. That's the final piece. I see it now. Yep, because then if I glue this to here, whoops. Never mind. If I stick this to here like I was doing already. Yep, just gonna really, oh god, is there no better way to do that? Because I don't want that piece, don't want this piece. Oh no, I do want that piece. Never mind. Ba ba da ba ba. Ba da ba da dum dum. Tim Finnegan lived in Walking Street. Oh, a gentleman Irish, mighty odd. He had a brogue, both rich and sweet. At a rise in a world he carried a hod. Now Tim had a sort of a tippling way. With the love of the liquor poor Tim was born. And to help him on his way each day to drop the crather every morn. Whack for the dawn, now dance to your partner on the floor, your trotters shake. Wasn't it the truth that I told you? Lots of fun in Finnegan's Wake. One morning Tim felt rather full, and his head felt heavy, which made him shake. He fell off the ladder and he broke his skull. So they carried him home, his corpse to wake. There we go. I need lyrics to that. Boy. They rolled him up in a nice clean sheet, and they laid him out upon the bed, with a gallon of whiskey at his feet and a barrel of porter at his head. Whack for the dawn, now dance to your partner on the floor, your trotters shake. Wasn't it the truth that I told you? Lots of fun in Finnegan's Wake. go. Now, see, I don't want this triangle there, but I do need this piece there. So I'm just gonna grab this, and we will set that together in a moment. It's the only piece I'm gonna cheat on that rather large, complicated part. So I feel good about that. I really feel good about that. Have you heard about the big strong man? Well, he lived in a caravan. Have you heard about the Jeffrey Johnson fight? Oh Lord, what a hell of a night. Well, you can take all the heavyweights you got. We got a man that can beat the whole lot. And he used to work here as a doorman. And now he's gonna fight George Foreman. That's me brother, Sylvester. He's got a row of 40 medals on his chest. Sure, he killed 50 bad men in the West. Oh, he knows no rest. Talk of a man, hell's fire. Don't push, just shove. Plenty of room for you and me. He's got an arm like a leg, and a punch that could sink a battleship. Sure, it takes all the Army and the Navy to knock the block off Sylvester. Well, he thought that he'd go to Italy, and he thought that he'd go by sea. So he went down and jumped off the port, and he swam like a man of cork. Well, he saw the Lusitania in distress. Sure, he put the Lusitania on his chest. Then he drank up all the water in the sea, and he walked all the way to Italy. Ah, that's my brother, Sylvester. He's got a row of 40 medals on his chest. Sure, he killed 50 bad men in the West. Oh, he knows no rest. Talk of a man, hell's fire. Don't push, just shove. Plenty of room for you and me. He's got an arm like a leg, and a punch that could sink a battleship. Sure, it takes all the Army and the Navy to put the wind up, Sylvester. Oh, how is your old one bear off? There we go. There was a bog, a great bog. 'Twas a rare bog and a rattling bog, and it was down in the valley. Oh, 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 the rattling bogs, the bog down in the valley. Oh, 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 the rattling bogs, the bog down in the valley. Oh, and in that bog there was a And in that hole there was a tree, a rare tree, and a rattling tree, and the tree, and the hole, and the hole, and the bog's down in the valley. Oh, 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 the rattling bogs, the bog down in the valley. Oh, 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 the rattling bogs, the bog down in the valley. Oh. And on that tree there was a limb, a rare limb, and a rattling limb, and the limb, and the tree, and the tree, and the hole, and the hole, and the bog's down in the valley. Oh, 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 the rattling bogs, the bog down in the valley. Oh, 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 the rattling bogs, the bog down in the valley. Oh. Alright, so I am currently going through and just finishing unfolding the other side of the cod piece, because that'll actually get us a lot closer to finished. Because, let me see here, I've just got to make sure I do this the exact same way I did it on this one, which is joined right here, I think. I'm actually just going to move down one. Yep. That here, and that here. And that's the same way. This way, I've got these two pieces here. All of that. So everything you see here has been, actually, everything there has been fully unfolded, which means we have to do the other side of this, then we've got to do a little bit of cleanup on some of the little fiddly bits. But the good news is, then that means we've got the full Mark 7 arm done. We've also got the chest and back. We'll have the abs and cod, which means next, oh, and of course we've got the hand and fingies. Which means that next we can put together the thigh and leg pieces. And once that's done, I mean, I think I should check up on the neck piece that I have, But other than that, I think then we're ready to start building this in the near future, which is super awesome. It's super great. So let's go ahead and unfold the other side of the abs the same way we did this side. Because that way we can call this almost entirely done. Save for just a little bit of cleanup. But then we will actually have reduced this to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 pieces. 7 pieces, which is great. Hey there, Mini Meerkat Mini Meerkat 403. LOL. Glad to have you with us. If you're at all a fan of what I'm doing here, any of this Pepakura, please feel free to give us a subscribe. We just hit 400 subscribers, which is super awesome. I think at 500 subscribers, we're probably going to do another giveaway, maybe of one of the builds that I haven't sold yet. So, I mean, that's Captain Rex, Doom, got Rescue Helmet. I will have Star-Lord at that point. So, I mean, you know, subscribe. Get your friends to subscribe. Push us over 500. I dare you. I double dog dare you. Good. Good, Mini Meerkat. Good. LOL. All right, let's go ahead and we'll add this in right here. Awesome. So this, again, the name of the game here now is, oh, good. The name of the game now really is just make this thing look like that thing. If all the things look like all the other things, everything must be correct, right? Which is exactly, that's the name. There we go. Let's add this here. Bop, bop. And what I'm doing right here is actually just cleaning up this part because we will not be using it in the final build. But when I join all the adjacent edges, this will look very clean down in there. So I can kind of get rid of it and make the overall set of templates look very nice, which is great, honestly. It's a great way to be. Let's see, that's joining right here. I think that splits in the middle. Done and go. Perfect. Yep, join that across here. And then even that out right there. Oh, it's a jumble right there, but we're actually disturbingly close to done on that. Here we go. Duke's dear friend. And on that limb there was a branch, a rare branch and a rattling branch. And the branch and the limb and the limb and the tree and the tree and the hole and the bogs down in the valley, oh, oh, the rattling bogs, bog down in the valley, oh, oh, the rattling bogs, bog down in the valley, oh. And on that branch there was a twig, a rare twig and a rattling twig. And the twig and the branch, twig and the branch, the branch and the limb and the tree and the hole and the bogs down in the valley, oh, oh, the rattling bogs, bog down in the valley, oh, oh, the rattling bogs, bog down in the valley, oh. Go join that here. Then this is the first edge I think that actually gets kind of wonky because I need to even it out top to bottom to make sure that I'm doing it the same way on the other one. There we go. That's more or less correct. Yep, and then this, that'll join like that. Whew! Oh darn. So we are so close to being done with this, but now I'm starting to go like cross-eyed staring at this. Oh, you know what? I actually like the way that looks better than that. So I think I'm gonna actually change that. Sometimes Pepakura's algorithms are strong enough to really pull off joins that I didn't consider to be possible. And so you wind up with something that's just way better than what you thought you were going to get. That's not right. Hang on, what's going on there? What part am I looking at? Oh, I think I actually got rid of that. Yeah. Okay, I see what's happening. I actually don't want this piece. I want to go through and get rid of that piece. Because that's not a piece I want. There we go. Okay, join that here and join this there. God, I love it when the pieces just sort of make themselves. Pepakura, man, it's a good time. Which is probably a great time to mention the fact that I release a lot of these templates early to my patrons. So if you're at all interested in what I do, if you like these things, if you want to support the channel a little more, please feel free to check out our Patreon. We do a lot of fun stuff over there, and we're about to be doing another poll. Lord, sorry. We're going to be doing another poll for our $5 members. Because we got an upcoming Hush Hush craft off, and I need some help picking my final build. So you know, join up. You have a chance to help pick a build that you're gonna see. You know, if you've ever wanted to have a little say in that, why not? Why not do it now? Right? Here we go. Let's see. So that's, oh God, that's close. What am I missing here? Where does this join that I'm missing? Is it that? That's it. There we go. Whew. Okay. And then I need to go all the way back here. There we go. That's going to join there. Get rid of that. Get rid of this. Yep. Join those together like that. Do the same over here so they kind of meet in the middle. Get rid of that. Get rid of those. Just keep moving it down. That's the real key. Just keep moving it down and away from all the problem pieces. We don't need those, right? Okay. Okay, in an effort to get this section right, I'm actually going to disjoin these two so I can get these two sides closer together so I can see what's going on. Okay, so that needs to be joined there. And it has equal but like opposite one there. There we go. That's correct now. This should be joined like that. And this should be joined like that. And now they're even, I think. I'm looking at it. That looks pretty darn even. There we go. There we go. That's two sides. That is two sides. We love it. Now, the real question is, should I put this on there? I don't think so, because I think that'll actually just be more confusing than leaving them off. Okay. So, then we can go through, and we can sort of just add all these extra edge pieces to these parts. Because, I mean, well, it's correct that they're not, they will be visible, like they're visible pieces. They're not going to be used because the holes from that other piece, the larger piece, will actually give us the shape that we need to make these parts and or recess these parts or cut them out of the larger piece. So we don't really need to spend a lot of time on that. There we go. We just sort of run the edging around that piece. There we go. Yeah, this is going to be way easier. Oh my gosh, this is just cleanup. This is nothing, which is great because we've only got 13 minutes left in this live stream. But I think we can actually muster the willpower to power through this. The index finger fatigue. We're gonna make it. We're gonna finish this. We're gonna do it. There we go. There's another piece that needs to do the same thing. And it's fun because, like, at the very least, because of the way that there's not symmetry so much as a lot of repeat patterns in Iron Man, once you've done one part of it, you usually at least have the way to do the next 2 to 3 parts because they're ultimately going to be the same thing. Ooh, that piece we will need. There we go, yep. And then on this side, where's that piece? There we go. Okay, I'm gonna run this edging around this piece as well, just like we did all those other pieces. You can kind of see how Pepakura starts to make a lot more sense once you view it as like a layering program that you can sort of hack inside out to do the things that you need for foam. There we go, move that there, move this here. The real sticky wicket, honestly, when it comes to foam builds, is just learning how to use it quickly. Because that will sort of guide whether or not you're able to really pump out builds. Oh my gosh, can I really join that there? Okay, so I'm gonna add this piece in between each of these so that when I join these adjacent edges, that actually becomes one piece along that line, which is great. That's what we want. Sorry, check that there. Yes, that's what we want. Yeah, there we go. This one faces up. Get rid of that line there. This one faces down. Just like that. Okay. Whoops. Get rid of that so we can see the pieces that we left there. Perfect. And there's another one of these pieces. I think there's like 3 on either side, so it's not that strange that I'm having to do this particular part over and over and over again. There we go. And yeah, you could just leave it. You could just not do it. But I think that's lame. I think that's kind of a cop-out, and I think that you can do more for it, frankly. No, that's not what I want. I want this. There we go. That's what I want. Oi. There we go. Okay, what's left? What haven't I done? I'm seeing a piece there. I'm seeing a piece here. What do these join to? Okay, well, I guess that joined to there. I had missed that. Blah. Where does this join? That joins there, which means it joins to this. And it's another one of these pieces. These god dang pieces. There we go. Oh, God, I'm so close. No. You can see what happened there is if you are clicking on the wrong edge, it'll try to join the pieces, not in the cleanest way possible, but in the direction in which you click. There we go. Those pieces are done. Got some more onesie twosie pieces here. We'll have to take care of those. Do-do-do, do-do-do, do-do-do. Ah. What's this? What am I looking at? These pieces are... Oh, it's the underside of that. Which can... Yep, I was going to say there should be some other underside edge piece for that. Just like that. Yep, and that's the top one there. Again, these pieces aren't things that we would need to put together so much as they are things that we will adjoin for the purposes of leaving a clean build. What am I looking at here? I think these are for the front. I think these are the little greebles on the underside of that. Yep. That's exactly what those are. And then these triangles join to nothing. Not sure exactly where those go, but they're not useful parts, so we're not gonna... Oh, and that's... Yep, there we go. That joins to this. There we go. Where did this go? Oh, that's supposed to go there. That was a mistake. Sweet. Again, small mistakes, but that's okay. So those are all pieces we don't need. These are all pieces that we do need. And so now we're finally ready to go to the 2D menu, join adjacent edges, set our threshold as high as possible, and just join those edges together. Look at that. Glorious. Why is that so far apart right there? Oh, because it's trying to join around a corner. I will do this, which I know is not super correct, but should hopefully... Oh no, that's a way worse edge. We're just going to do that. That's okay. All right, join adjacent edges again. Sometimes you think you have a better idea and you don't. I'll take reducing this to 7 pieces. I'll take that as my big victory tonight, honestly. Lord. Okay, so there are some lines we're probably going to add back in on the side part, but for now I'm just going to try and do this as simply as possible, where I just leave those large divots there. All right. Go, and I'm going to leave sort of a band there, and you'll see tomorrow why, because there's a way that I would do these marks, and it's featured pretty heavily in my build guide tomorrow, so regrettably you'll have to wait for that video tomorrow. But now we'll just go through, because then we've got a groove where that fun edge detail needs to go. And same thing up here is a fun groove that we get to leave right there. Sweet. And so you can see the simplification sort of shows up in the 3D window, and you can see how this becomes a much easier build. We go up, over, get rid of these lines, don't need these lines. The roughest thing I think is sometimes I'll post something and then after the fact I'll find out that I accidentally left in like an extra line or something. And you just wind up just feeling stupid more than anything. Oh man, that got a little wonky, didn't it? That's okay though. This, I guess we just won't keep this side. We'll keep the other side. And it'll still end up looking very pretty in the 3D. Actually, hang on. Let's see here. 3D menu. Reset model view. Oh good, we get to keep this side. Whew! Crisis averted. Let's just erase these tiny lines real quick. Run around this sort of circle. That's what I mean there, about like extra tiny little edges that you forget to get rid of, because they're not super visible, but like printed out you would see it and it'd be a little confusing. So we can get rid of that. Don't really need it. All right, let's do the spine real quick. Run and do the spine. We'll kind of do this in the order that we did it before. This is going to have no edge right there. There we go. And I'm again leaving sort of a 2-line groove there. There we go. So eliminating the line that separates that V groove. And that way, we're left with sort of a flap on the bottom and the place where we'll need those grooves after the fact. Look at that. How about that? Okay, this doesn't need any lines. And then the only lines I need to leave on here are at the bottom and along these grooves. So we can go through and do those real quick. Super fast. Oh man, we're gonna go just slightly over. Don't tell my fiance. Here we go. Shh, you can't hear. Here we go. Get rid of that, get rid of this. Awesome. It's just grooves all the way down, my dear boy. Look at that. Oh, that looks super sharp. Was this missing something? No, it's just got extra lines in there for some reason. I don't know what's going on there, but I'm getting rid of those lines. Don't like that. Do not know what was going on there. Go. There we go. And then once I've got all of these groove lines out, I know that it's not necessarily accurate, but because I'm not using any of the lines on these parts, I'm just gonna erase all of them. I really am, and it's gonna look simpler because of that, and I'm okay with that. I really am. Okay, let's see here. Okay, so the only thing that's left now is to go through this side and just sort of hammer out which lines we need to keep for this. I think this is actually going to be easier than we think. I'm going to erase these because these get a little wonky down the side. And that's just kind of a byproduct of oversimplifying things sometimes. That's okay. It really is, because we're just going to use this as a flap. So it doesn't even need to be that pretty. This is an edge that we'll probably actually use as an undercut. So we can keep this because that's actually the groove line continuing from the spine there. And the same is true right here. There we go. There we go. Okay. So this is, for those of you who are a little lost right now, this is the piece we're working on. And you can kind of see I'm erasing the lines as I go here. These lines I don't need these lines, because this is all going to be a flap that we use to build the cod onto the abs. You can see it right there. And I'm actually just going to move that in there in just a moment. There we go. Sweet. Don't need that. Don't need any of that. I'm going to keep just the outside of this as an indication of where I need to recess this piece just slightly. Oops. Gosh dang it. at that. There we go. You can see this is more or less where that groove sort of meets the rest of this build. Awesome. That is kick butt, actually. None of that needs to be grooved. None of that needs to be grooved. None of that needs to be grooved. Perfect. I'm going to do the same thing right here, where we race along these lines, and then leave the outer edges of this as an indication where we'll need to recess along these lines. There we go. God, that looks really simple. Oh man, this is the kind of stuff that I live for, where it becomes so much easier than it was. Wait a second. Yeah, no, we need that. We need that like this. And I won't lie. If there's any other lines that I want to add to this, I'd probably do it after printing it out. I think this is about as far as I can take the Pepakura, and I'm really okay with that because it has come a long way. Here we go. Let's erase that line. And then before we move on, I am actually going to stick this piece in here by Control R allows us to open up the rotation menu. Then I'm going to rotate it so that this line lines up with those lines. And I get that there's some funky overlap stuff happening there, but I'm going to group those together like we did at the very beginning. And then I'm going to hide those four outer lines, excuse me, so that now I've got that one strong smooth piece there. And just like that, we have the one side. I'm gonna get rid of this. We don't need it. Useless piece. Then I'm gonna just even this out real quick. Oh gosh, we're so close to being done. There we go. Erase, erase, erase along this line. I won't lie, once you've done one of these, it becomes a lot easier to do the other because you've realized which parts were always going to be superfluous and which parts, you were always going to be able to erase and whatnot. Because we don't need that, and we don't need that, and we don't need this, we don't need that. Oh, whoops. I think I've accidentally hidden a line I don't need to hide. There we go. Sweet. There we go. Hide, hide, hide. Don't need any of that. Don't need any of that. None of this. None of those. None of that. There we go. Right across here. And then we're just going to do the same thing real quick where we hid the inner lines of those to show where the recesses happen. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. There we go. That's it. And I'm not going to bother grouping. Oh, wait, no, this is the piece we're keeping. Dang it. Okay, I've got to group that. Takes just a moment to do. Even if I hate it. Erase those cut lines. There we go. That is that. So now when I go to 3D menu, reset model view, I'm going to unclick the pieces we're keeping. That piece, and this piece, and that piece. And which just leaves that piece now, so that can be moved off into the middle distance. Move this over here. And now all that we're left with is the pieces that we would print, because of course some of these are symmetrical, so we would just flip them over, do them on the other side. So I'm going to stick these on as few pieces of paper as I can real quick. And then before we go, all I'm going to do is show you how I would print this, because I think that's something that people get a little confused about sometimes. And so we might as well explain it real quick. So all you got to do is we're going to save it real quick, but we're going to go to settings, print and paper settings. I'm going to make sure it's letter, because I work in letter, and that's what I work in. Of course, you might work in a different size paper. You'll want to check that. Then you're going to want to print your lines clearly, vector print. Set your transparency to 0% because you want to see all of these things. And then you're going to want to print the page numbers and print alignment marks for multiple pages. Okay? So when you go to print, you send it to your printer, and you'll note it's not printing every page you see here. It's only printing the pages that have things on them. So what it would print is it would print 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Excuse me, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 pages. And it would have row 1, column 1, row 1, column 2, row 2, column 1, row 2, column 2, row 2, column 4, and so that you would be able to align these back up after you print. And that's how it all fits together. Gosh, I want to thank everybody who stuck around so long. This has been a really, really fun and productive Pepakura Tuesday, because we don't have a lot more on this. Before we go, I want to give just a quick little teaser for something that's upcoming. That's right. We're working on the Iron Man. We're going to keep working on Iron Man, but we've also got some more Fortnite coming. This is an Iron Man Fortnite helmet, which I'm really excited about because I've been really, really enjoying these comic book style stuff. But for now, I am going to wrap up, sign off, and say thank you to everybody who showed up. Really appreciate it. Huge thanks to my patrons. Have a good one, folks.